Lizzie Deignan, Lizzie Armitstead as won the silver behind Marianne Vos. Marianne Vos in the field today as well. But the Dutch have found themselves in a tricky situation because Van Vleuten, yeah, she didn't make the advantage that she thought she was going to, Van Vleuten, and while she was at the front, the others weren't involved in the race, and now it could be too late for them all to close the gap because the kilometres are just ticking away now. 26.5 remaining.
Well, they'll have her in their sights now. Just a handful of seconds up the road. They'll be able to see her in the distance.
Well, it's a scenario that we were not expecting. This has been a race that we were not expecting.
The gap's going back up. I mean, the gap is just going away again now. So this is the group that could do the damage. They're almost back in contact.
We've got good riders here. That's Kopecky from Belgium on the front.
If I'm right, we are going again now.
In second place in the red shorts. Margerus is there, but others getting involved too. Here's Van Vleuten. She will be within sight of the others before too long. They will see her, I think, when the road straightens out a little. It was an enormous effort from Van Vleuten. She just powered away from the group on the last climb.
And then she's just parked up. Maybe she's not coping well with the heat, I don't know. I mean, it was a beautiful attack, did everything that she needed to get away, but they're racing as if there's no break. And there is a break, and it's 5 minutes up the road with 25 kilometres to go.
I have to say, normally when Van Vleuten attacks and disappears up the road, nobody will see her again until after the finishing line, and that is not what has happened today. This is astonishing stuff. Nuva Doma up there for
definitely sharing.
And Lizzie Deignan, well placed too, also in on the action.
Marta Bastianelli has been out of the back, rejoining, and now goes out of the back once again.
So we'll have to keep watching with this group now, but the Dutch coming to the fore. They're still racing as if this was for gold.
Lizzie Deignan riding on the front of that group now.
Archery.
And just off the back once more, Ruth Winder of the United States. These are riders who've been dropped on the climb and managed to get back on.
Don't forget, we haven't had a camera bike on them, which is amazing, but Shapira and Plichter are still up the roads, and they are only a minute and 26 off our leader. So at the moment, all the medals have gone, and gone by such a distance that it's quite possible that they won't come back.
Yeah.
Well, what an extraordinary race this is turning
I think
into.
we got the one. It was Jade Jones.
As they head for the Fuji Speedway motor racing circuit. And there we are.
She didn't make it.
So she's come to the circuit now. It's a tough circuit, this one.
Yep.
As I said, we've not been seeing that eating or drinking.
So right now, I believe
she's
it's
been staying on top of that, clearly working hard, knows she has the chance of an Olympic gold here, a very, very good chance that she's forged for herself.
The road races on BBC One.
Kilometres era. First there were 5, then down to a fantastic working group of 3.
Which is at least where I'm watching it. I'm not sure what Franz was watching.
On the last climb of the day. And now it is the really hard circuit, and you can see just how hard it is. She's on the small ring there. And the peloton will do a lot of damage, I would imagine. Now the racing has really started in these closing stages, so it's far from a done deal. But that's a lot of time to close in the distance remaining. What an exciting race this is proving to be. The orange jerseys of the Dutch, they were the dominant team coming into this. Pretty much any one of them were capable of taking a gold medal. 2 of them had already done so in the past. And now they've found themselves very much on the back foot in the hunt for gold.
As the defending champion, Anna van der Breggen. Lizzie Deignan in this little split. But that's been the theme, hasn't it, from this group? They've never been a cohesive group in any shape or form. We've had little accelerations, it's been stop-start. Nobody has consistently really got together to ensure that they work as a cohesive unit.
And this group's too big now, so we've got, what, 15 riders here, and it's too big. I just can't see them working well together.
Kopecky just pulls across and looks and hopes that Juliette Labousse from France will continue the pace at the front. Dijkman having a little look round as well. Lisa Brennauer I can see there in the middle of the picture at the moment. Marta Cavalli for Italy. Cecilia Ludwig at the back in the red and white of Denmark. Nuva Dommer and Van Vleuten on the left. Interestingly, United States with a couple of riders. Corinne Rivera,
well,
just tucked in.
Back in the mix.
Very interesting.
Kopecky desperate to get this chase going.
More important to be sustaining than to be maximum. It's just such a long way to go. 22 Ks doesn't seem much.
So Van Vleuten's back in the fold. Rather, Van Vleuten is there.
This is Rivera on the front for the United States. And you're right, Chris, Chloe Dijkman third in the line behind the Belgian rider.
Time, didn't she? But got herself back in there. And now the terrain she's more suited to. Now, we've stopped getting time checks, but I think it's about 4 3/4 minutes, so she's losing time, but a perfectly acceptable rate here. Just got to settle into it. More important for it to be sustainable than to be maximum. It's just such a long way to go. 22 Ks doesn't seem much of a 137-kilometre race, but as you can see, a lot of it is uphill. There's some strong headwinds to be dealt with as well.
It's quite a tough undulating circuit, isn't it? The
yeah, you can see there.
Speedway.
You get a little glimpse there that it's not easy roads at all. It's one of the hardest finishing circuits that we've seen for an Olympic Games where one has been deployed. Very, very rolling. And that's hard when you're on your own. There's no wheels to have a bit of respite. Slowly coming back together, isn't it, this race?
There were 5 of them initially, down to 1. This is
well, let's hope the men's race is half as interesting in this as this, rather.
Even though we've not seen it for some considerable time.
So here comes the main chase group onto the motor racing circuit, heading into the closing stages of the race. 22 kilometres remaining for the rider at the front of the race, Anna Kiesenhofer from Austria. Kiesenhofer part of a breakaway which escaped right at the start of the race, in the very first kilometre. She has been in the front throughout the event. There were 5 of them initially, down to 1 now. This is Ashley Moolman-Passio from South Africa leading the chase at the moment. But as Chris said a few moments ago, we should not forget, even though we've not seen pictures of them for some considerable time, Oma Shapira of Israel and Anna Plichter of Poland, there they are. They are second and third on the road.
Yeah, 1:43 back on the leader, so they're stuck roughly halfway between the two. Our leader has 4:38. And they are the medals at the moment.
And goodness me, they look tired and hot.
Yeah, they've put in quite a shift to get themselves into this position. Off the front, literally all day. All of this race, they have been away.
So Moolman-Passio, Nuva Dommer of Poland second. That's Lizzie Dijkman in third on the multicoloured bike. Annemiek van Vleuten is fourth. She's in the orange jersey with the yellow helmet on. As we see Teresa Neumanova of the Czech Republic, who I think is going out of the back of the group. Barely a metre of flat road for these cyclists.
Well, I have to say, we're commentating on this event, and maybe there's a slight bias towards the British riders, but I'm rooting for our leader here. I mean, what a ride that she's put in. By far the biggest thing that she's ever done in her career already. Even if she loses, this has been the most amazing ride by Kiesenhofer. And behind, they're just riding tempo, 4.5 minutes. And they're riding tempo at the moment, waiting to attack. It's almost
I
as
was
if they
wondering
didn't
why
know
it's so quiet.
breakaway. Never mind, all of the medals are up the road at the moment.
The lead was 10 minutes at one point, wasn't it, for Kiesenhofer when she was away with Shapira and Plichter a little bit earlier in the stage.
So they're only 3 minutes.
There's like one person that's just shot off and they're all trying to catch up.
Nobody in that field.
Quite soon they'll be at, I think this race finishes at Fuji International Speedway as well. The same as the men's yesterday.
A minute and 45 behind by Shapira and Plichter, who are in the silver and bronze positions at the moment. Remarkable, all remnants of that early breakaway. They created this opportunity. Imagine if you put a bet on this, I mean, you'd be made for life.
Well, it's Kiesenhofer against everybody else, but she's got a real chance here.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Really great to see such an open race. And you can see everybody's suffering here. Moolman Passio, more Dutch attacking there, just missed who that was.
Well, I think it was Van Vleuten at the front. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's Annemiek van Vleuten again, as we saw Tiffany Cromwell just go out of the back of the group. Kopecky up there, Moolman Passio. Van Vleuten's just regrouped a little bit, found a second wind. That's Uttrup Ludwig who's gone with her. Lizzie Deignan is never far away from the front when there's any
action. She too is trapped in this group, chosen
quite understandably towards
the favourites as you would. No. And all of them have been caught out and they're watching each other. There's no concerted chase now, and it's a real difficult circuit to chase on. Hard one to be away on your own on to be sure, but to actually get a nice through and off group going, even though they haven't, when they've had the opportunity,
18
kilometers just doesn't lend itself.
To go.
Of corners, so lots of undulations.
I assume they're going to do. I assume they're going to do a few laps more because
she's the time trial champion of Austria. She's 30 years of age. This is her first ever appearance in the Olympic Games. Can she hang on and claim?
I still remember when they did a few races on Fuji.
19 kilometers to go.
It was actually really fun race for Formula One when they did it. I never thought I'd ever see the cycling on it.
Apart from something happening to her. Now, I've mentioned it a few times, and our camera has not been consistently on her, but I'm not seeing her eat or drink at all.
I do remember yesterday in the men's race, Alberto Bettiol from Italy, for example, was in a leading group of riders, and suddenly he almost had to stop because his legs cramped up completely.
And 33 degrees heat, high humidity, that could happen here, particularly after such a long effort. So I've got to admit, I'm rooting for her here.
What suspense, what tension.
Kiesenhofer at the moment, looking like she's going to get gold for
That is Marianne Vos from the Netherlands, just rolling around on the outside of the corner.
Well, they're keeping the pace high, but
never usually does someone take such a big lead and it not get closed up.
They are well behind.
It's actually quite crazy.
4:25.
There's still a lot of looking around, isn't there? That's Mavi Garcia from Spain on the front. They're all having a discussion there, and we can see two of the Dutch riders, Demi Vollering and Anna van der Breggen, having a chat. This is the leader,
yes.
Anna Kiesenhofer, on the road for Austria.
Keeping up against the barriers, a little bit of a cross-headwind here. The Dutch having a chat. I think they're going to have to decide at last. We need to get on the front. It's down to us to bring this race together.
Juliette Labousse from France goes on off the front. It's Labousse from France who makes a move, and the rider from Colombia, the lone rider from Colombia, Paula Andrea Patiño, is the one who tries to get on the wheel of the French woman. Well, I just wonder, will she go through this particular spot again?
Like Group 1, we're gonna struggle to get into the Super Bowl.
She will be taking the checkered flag and will be claiming the gold medal. Anna Kiesenhofer from Austria leads the way in the women's Olympic road race, having been part of an initial breakaway group from the very first few metres of the race, the sort of group we see almost every time there's a bike race, Chris, and the sort of group who never managed to stay away. But this time there's a real chance of it happening. This is Labous from France, a young rider, the only French rider in the race, 22 years of age, 7th in the recent Women's Giro d'Italia.
Well, it's a nice ride by her, but riding individually with 17 kilometres to go is just a hide into nothing. Maybe outside chance of closing in on a medal, but even that is a tall order behind. They're just playing brinkmanship at a time when brute force is the only solution to get back into this race. The Dutch team didn't want to be pushed into chasing. But if they don't actually use their might to get themselves into this race, what is the point? You know, what is the point in them being here? What is the point in having all this power and just not using it?
People joining our coverage all of the time at this hour of the day on a Sunday.
I could do that.
Anna Kiesenhofer, the leader from Austria.
I watched the Formula E on my phone though.
Oma Shapira from Israel and Anna Plichter from Poland.
Whatever the rest of
riders unfancied in
but
terms
yeah,
of being
we can definitely do that.
Absolutely not medal contenders at the start of the day.
Don't usually qualify them
third on the road, and they're still holding a decent advantage over the hot favourites for this race. Coming through the finish now. That's Shapira in the blue and white, and Plichter taking on an energy gel for this final lap. Can they hang in there and fight it out for silver and bronze?
Yeah, 2 minutes the deficit, but they've got a healthy lead on what the remnants of the peloton who are not.
I assume they're going back outside of the speedway and then back in.
It is a fascinating race this. At the moment, all the medals are gone. And it's all right going out after them alone here, but I can't believe that Labous is going to close this down on her own. She needs company.
No, she's got a lot to do. Kiesenhofer, the leader, the national time trial champion of Austria. Shapira, the 5-time and current national road race champion of Israel.
Oh, it's almost as if this main group has forgotten that there's people ahead of them.
29 years of age, the Polish woman. No major results or placings this season at all for Plichter. She was here to help out Nieuwe-Dommer, but she has found herself in a potential medal-winning position. What a story and what a race it's turned into.
And just look at the peloton. Just look at the way they're.
So they're only just getting to
the all-conquering Dutch team are just sitting in this group.
Yeah, they're only just getting to the bell. 4 minutes.
And not, I mean, just putting one rider on the front and attacking on their own like this. It's just, it needs more with 14 Ks to go.
Is that Anna van der Breggen making a move, the defending Olympic champion? And will it be too little, too late, if indeed it is her? I think it is, yes. It's Anna van der Breggen, Nieuwe-Dommer straight on her wheel. Lizzie Deignan third in line. Lisa Brennauer up there as well. Zabelinskaya still looking strong. Morgan Passio. The vast majority of the biggest names in the women's peloton are in that group there. But at the moment, they're not in a medal-winning position. Labous just dangling in front of them as she takes the bow.
Might be in the race, but they're not in the race, are they? Languishing at the moment, not near the peloton. Need to do something bold, need to get on the front and ride, not one individual on the front, not attacking, but actually get together, use your numbers to your advantage. It's your only chance. For sure our leader will slow down in the closing stages, but she has such a buffer now, even if she dies severely, that's a lot of an advantage that she's got. 14 kilometres remaining.
Still looking quite strong, Kiesenhofer. Fully committed and riding well.
Well, committed, that's for sure. Can't believe that if she's finding herself.
Breakaway group isn't exactly going to help them catch.
She had the courage to go with a break.
Unless it's a big
work well
group.
Together. They used their numbers. She attacked on the final climb of the day, rested on the descent, and has then consolidated her lead.
Chris, whatever happens to Anna Kiesenhofer, and at the moment, of course, she is in pole position to win the Olympic title, but what courage to attack from the breakaway group, not just to get in the breakaway group, but to then attack from it with 40 kilometres remaining and go on your own.
Well,
that's a long way.
It's one of those moves. If it comes off, it's incredibly clever. If it doesn't, it was foolish. So history will tell, but if nothing else, it's definitely been brave. A brutal day out, the weather playing its part, cooling off a little bit perhaps now in the latter part of the day as the shadows lengthen, and she'll take anything. Beautiful surfaces throughout, but tough terrain, very, very lumpy all day, and that's what people have been waiting for, these obstacles. Well, our leaders didn't. They just got stuck into this race in the outskirts of Tokyo.
Oh, nice.
Are two
Hmm?
Oh, great. Now you can see my yes. Nice, right. What do I do now? Oh dear. Yeah, for whatever reason, it just stopped.
It's not going to close the gap as an individual. It's been
Oh.
Okay. So we'll just carry on doing what we did before.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I'll tell you what I'll do. This is like that. There we go. So you just see that for now whilst I try and sort things out. Yeah, no idea. Everything just crashed. Basically.
Okay. Now hopefully it'll be going from now on.
Should go back to what we thought. In theory. No, it won't, which is stupid. Very stupid. Different thing altogether. Shouldn't even show. There we go, it is. Nice, right, okay. Tab and remove that. No one will see. Hopefully it does anyway. We'll get everything set up. Right, I've also found a live timing for Formula E that has a tracker, so when the Formula E qualifies on, the viewers will be able to see the track. You guys will be able to see the track.
So, track, who's on it, times and whatever. Okay.
I've got that set up, so I want to make that the window capture now. I do apologise guys behind the scenes, it's a bit strange to see me do all this, but I don't know if I pressed the wrong button, it just kind of went off. Yeah, it's what it is.
Chris, I wonder if there's anybody involved to get me on her basis.
So we're assuming we'll go back to here now, carry on watching the race.
And she's coped extremely well with the pressure of the situation so far as well, which of course she will be keenly feeling. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Wow.
Yeah, and she grabbed it with both hands, you know, to be fair. I mean, we like to see, I think everybody likes to see the underdog win. But boy, to go out in a breakaway from the very start of the day, a break that never works, work your way through this race, and finally, at last, that 1 in 1,000 shot is paying off.
Chris, I wonder if there's anybody in the world who bet money on her winning this race today.
Possibly her parents, they're now set for life. Well, that's the first drink I've seen her take it out. I'm quite anxious
You'll
now.
be feeling happier for her now, won't you, now you've seen that?
You're losing about a good couple of kilos an hour in this heat that you need to keep replenishing.
Well, here are two other riders, Chris, who are in a different situation to the one in which they were expecting. Omar Shapira in the blue and white of Israel, Anna Plichter from Poland. Suddenly, they are racing for silver and bronze.
Yeah, and the numbers work for them, don't they? pretty much for what, over half of this race, all the riders in the breakaway have been guaranteed a medal if they manage to stay away. Labous, frustrated, managed to break free of the peloton. Beautiful ride, but just late in the day. Could end up being best of the rest here.
I'm going to double check how...
Minute and a half-ish behind the two other podium riders. 10 kilometres to go. I think they probably will have given up the ghost by now because there's just no point. We're long since past the time for chasing.
Misjudgment by the whole of the field, wasn't there?
Massive misjudgment. Massive.
Which is why it runs straight away.
Given far too much leeway before there was any reaction. So when Van Vleuten made her counter attack on the climb, the gap was just too big to close.
It's like, why put one rider on the front with the gaps are so big with 10 kilometres remaining? It's a tactical disaster. You either work together through and off, you have strength in numbers, it's the only thing that you've got left, and they're just not using it, just not deploying the assets they have at their disposal. So Kaisenhofer, it's hers to lose now. 3 minutes 50. So losing time, but at a steady rate.
What an extraordinary effort from her throughout the day. She has been at the front of the race from the moment it started. She had 4 others for company initially. It slowly whittled down. Then there was a group of 3, but she left Plichter and Shapira, these 2 riders, she left them behind with 40 kilometres still remaining.
This is going to be the longest 10 kilometres of her life, isn't it? She's played everything right. Got into the early move. That group of 5 worked beautifully together all the way on the flats. As soon as the road went up, they whittled down to a group of 3. And then they worked well together, careful on the climbs, pushing on where they could, always sharing the work. Shapira and Plichter working beautifully with Kaisenhofer. And then Kaisenhofer on the very final climb of the day said, right, okay, this is it. If I'm going to take gold, this is my opportunity. And on the Kagasaka Pass she went, just a 2-kilometre climb before the final descent, broke free and has spent the last hour consolidating that lead.
This will be absolutely massive for this rider to win this race. I've mentioned before, she's the national time trial champion this year of Austria. She won that title in 2019 as well, and she won the road race 2 years ago. Apart from that, she's won a stage of the Tour of the Ardèche in 2016. So this is not a rider with a big palmarès who's won a number of big races.
That's an August.
This is a massive upset. Labous is still dangling in front of the remnants of the hot favourites group.
Kaisenhofer's been around a while. I mean, she's 30 years old. You know, she's been in this game for a long time, and to finally get an opportunity like this, and she's played it so well. I mean, I'm quite anxious now watching this last 10K because it would be heartbreaking to see her taken away from her. And
then you got the 2 in between as well.
Got 2 on the front. I mean,
look like they're going to get the other silver and bronze. So that main pack will get. It looks like it will get absolutely nothing.
Won't it? The interviews from the pits, what happened, how did you make these decisions? And I suspect the lack of information is going to play a big part in what's happened today. They're all racing with radios to getting real-time information. They saw the riders that went in the breakaway, they were comfortable with that makeup and just didn't expect them to work so well. So without information to rejig their estimates, they've been racing just on the assumption that the breakaway would fall apart.
Need to be vigilant at all times, as has been proven today. But Kiesenhofer, for the time being, with 9 kilometres to go, is still riding strongly, still looks good, still pedalling fluidly. Here's Ömer Shapira. It's such a hot day for the cyclists again, hot and humid.
You can see the salt on the skin suits here. Everybody's suffering now, no matter where you are in the race, but at least these two are suffering towards a medal for their efforts. And there was nothing they could do physically about Kaisenhofer leaving them. So these are the medals that they would deserve. It looks likely, if they can hold their nerve, that they'll be able to do that. Labous being pulled back by the at last working together Dutch team.
Yeah, those early breakaways rarely ever work, but, well, clearly it worked for this one, or it is working anyway, but
they could be
yeah.
shot of a medal. But there has to be no hesitation, flat out riding for the last few minutes of this race, and there's an outside chance they could bring themselves back within range of silver and bronze, but the gold is gone.
Well, what a sight there. The whole of the Dutch team, any one of whom have the ability on paper to win this race, riding on the front of a group near the end of the Olympic road race, but at the moment not being...
I think what they're doing, racing, I think 5 o'clock this race started for these, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's now 9, so they've been doing it for 4 hours.
To do it, and some help from the others.
Your legs must feel like
all the effort etched on the face of Demi Vollering.
The men started the men's yesterday started at 3 AM and finished up at 9:30. They're in 6.5 hours. And part of their climb was up Mount Fuji.
Even if she folded physically now, she could probably still crawl their way to the finish.
Yeah, quite an interesting.
She's just got to be careful.
Interesting one.
I guess she's coming downhill now,
and just wait.
To hold
the
it,
longest 7 kilometres that you will ever do on a bike.
Just hold it now. It's about
for the ride that she's put in today, she would absolutely deserve to win this race.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Boys, it's always interesting.
Anxious times behind for her two breakaway companions, former breakaway companions, Shapira and Plichter. Both of them at the moment heading for a medal, but the Dutch...
It's all one race, this one. So,
depending on their level of fatigue, they could still be caught in these closing stages. It's unlikely, but it is possible.
And I think in terms of them going downhill, you try to rest as much as possible on the downhill.
Some hard ramps for her to
so when you get to the big climbs, you've got enough
motor racing circuit by any means.
Push on.
6 kilometres, and we saw riders yesterday in the men's race, lots of people just cramping up. That's the kind of thing that could just beat you at the last, just the sheer inability to pedal. Still possible inside the last 6 kilometres, and more likely than ever in the closing stages.
But look at that, 2 3/4 minutes back to these two riders here. Plichter of
I did see that. That was...
Shapira of Israel.
I've never seen anything like that. But yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Maintaining their positions as fighting for silver and bronze. As we go back to the leader, still turning.
It was massive, like tons of
really high cadence, which
tons of them
panicking. Just staying
dropped it at that point. And there's nothing they can do. They have to just keep going with the race, even though it is.
That she's just minutes away, less than 10 minutes away.
Somebody who's good.
If she can just stay on top of it. Labous persisting, but with the might of the Dutch team just behind.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because
from the remains of the peloton. Unlikely it's going to be even for silver and bronze, but
yeah,
is
just be able to pick up points. Like just surviving those races.
On R2, about 50
either that or getting management right.
An update, 50
obviously
seconds back on the two chasers.
Here are the two chasers.
Do you know I think it's going to win the championship?
So these two can't afford to mess around thinking about who's going to get silver. They've got to keep working together. They've proved they can do that all day. They've come together as a makeshift team. They've done a fantastic job of it. Isn't it wonderful, though, to think that both of them will get a reward if they see this through?
In a group 2.
So unusual for those in the early
Okay.
breakaways in major
And
bike races
what about?
to have their day in the sun
Right,
all the
and then
way
you've got
to
the
the
2
finishing line
races in
itself.
Germany.
That looks as though
He likes
it
Germany.
is going to happen on this particular occasion, one of the biggest races of all in the
And
Olympic
he always does
Games.
well, better in the second half of the season.
Anna Kiesenhofer from Austria leading the way.
That'd
Juliette
be
Lebus has just stayed dangling
one
in
hell
front
of
of
an
the remnants
3
of the
races to go,
peloton
10th
for
wins
the
the
last
championship.
few kilometres. But
That's Formula
just
E,
starting
isn't
to close
it?
in now, as Chris was saying, with the Dutch riders on the front,
Any
putting in a
context
few
for
turns.
Formula
It's
E,
Van Vleuten in the
the
yellow
driver currently in the
helmet,
championship
leading
is
the
leading on
remnants of the pack
81
of what
points,
were
right?
hot favourites for this race. But at the moment,
And the
they are
maximum
not
amount of
contending
points you can
for
get
the medals. At the
in a
moment,
weekend, so let's
these
say
two
you
riders
win the
would be
race,
battling
you
it
get the
out
group
for
stage
silver
in
and bronze if
qualifying,
it stays the
you get
same. And you
pole
can see
position,
they
you get the fastest
have
lap,
got a little
that's
bit of
5
time to play
points
with,
just
but
for the group stage pole and fastest lap.
Labus hasn't given
That's
up the
30
chase, and
points in
neither
total,
have
okay?
the Dutch women on the front
And there are
of
3
the
races
pack. And
left in
Labus
the
now
season,
being reeled back in.
which means there are 90 points available, which
Well, you
means,
can see how close they are
in
now.
theory,
Two
obviously
two
won't
medal
happen,
contenders.
that Joel Eriksson, who's currently in 25th
It
in the
is still
standings,
just possible.
could win
5 kilometres
the
to
last
go
3
for our
races
leader.
and still possibly win the championship.
Suffering
Go for it, Eriksson.
around this circuit for the last
I'd
time.
say between, and this is mental as well, between 15th
It's
in the
cramp that could get her
standings
now, or a
and
mechanical
first.
problem.
I'd say
But
anyone
she
in
has
that top
just rode
15 still has a
valiantly
chance to
from
win the
start to
championship.
finish in this
There are
event.
9 points
This is a
between
rider who, at
first
the
and
current
7th.
moment, doesn't actually have a professional contract.
That's
She raced for
mental.
Lotto Soudal back in 2017.
That is 1/8 place.
I think she's going to find work
between
after today.
finishing
Rightly
between
so.
finishing 6th and 1st.
The day of
That's
the underdog,
one
isn't it?
Podium place between
Anna
that's one race win
Kiesenhofer from
between
Austria
being
as the
15th in
shadows start
standings
to
and
grow
first.
a little longer at the end of a remarkable day of women's cycling.
That is
Just
mental.
past 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Japan. Hot, humid, hilly.
Not quite within sight of the finish,
But
By the
here,
way, there was
Lichter
they've
and
been
Shapira are
caught,
being
not
reeled in.
the woman
by
right
the
out
group
at the
led
front,
by
but
Dutch.
the
medals
Polish
are
and
gone.
the
I
Israeli
feared
just
this
got
might happen,
caught.
that the medals could go, and that's what's going to happen. So they're going to salvage something, or rather somebody is from this group. The gold is gone, but there's potential for the podium. So sad at such a late stage in this race, but you can see the fatigue here,
The
can't you?
Netherlands, they've broken away
Agonisingly
too
close
early.
to a medal. These two riders are part of the leading breakaway group throughout the day, and not quite within sight of the finish, but less than 5 kilometres
No,
from the
the Dutch
finish.
one is
They
all the way.
are finally caught, and once again behind Tiffany Cromwell,
Oh,
just
Dutch are
slips
usually
out
quite
the
good at this
rear
sort of
of the
thing,
group.
so
Marta Lack
they'll probably
of
be
Poland
fine.
as well. And just having a look here,
But
a
it
little
seems
bit further
quite
forward, that's
clear
Demi
who's
Vollering
getting
from
the gold.
the Netherlands. So Vollering, who did much of the work in the last few minutes to try to close that gap, goes out of the back. So suddenly a whole host of riders are in contention for a medal. Again, Lizzie Deignan of Great
Lizzie
Britain
Deignan,
among them.
who is a good sprinter as well.
And I think Corinne
Come on, Britain,
Rivera
let's
is
get a
still in this
medal.
group as well.
Rivera Klein
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think
Really good
I
sprinter.
think we're
So
still in that.
very much unclear in the closing handful of kilometres who is going to get the silver and bronze. But the gold now is surely sorted.
Kiesenhofer
Lizzie Deningen, now
set
Lizzie
to
Deningen.
become the Olympic champion, the
Yeah.
most unexpected
Something like that, yeah.
women's road race Olympic champion.
But yeah, she should still be in that pack,
at the moment.
actually.
So she is okay so long as she can keep turning the pedals.
My goodness.
And there's the opposition trying to use these
That'd be
last
Britain's
slopes
first
to
medal if
break
she
this
did
race
manage to
apart.
pull it off.
Kazianuva Doma from Poland makes an attack.
Polish
Van
one, the
Vleuten
Polish one's
digs
coming
really
back.
deep to stay with her in the yellow helmet. That's Lisa Brennauer in the white of Germany. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig of Denmark in second place now in the red jersey with the white horizontal stripes. And Uttrup Ludwig there had that little burst of pace that drew her clear of Van Vleuten to close down the gap, because Nieuwe Donner and Uttrup Ludwig, They need to take advantage of the undulations. They
And
won't
everyone's
want
just
to
like,
lead it to a
just
sprint.
breakaway
Well,
start and go.
it's going to be
And
difficult.
then you realise
Van
because you're so
Vleuten
tired,
working on
as soon as you
sheer,
get pull out at
just
least
sheer courage there to
Just
drag it back. The
10-second
Dutch
gap.
did the work to get themselves
over a minute,
back to,
that's you sorting that position
into
if you can
contention for at
maintain that
least a
breakaway.
podium place. But they
Especially
almost
when
lost
it's
it there on that
if you're
tiny
good
little
hill
rise. They
climb,
did so much work
the
and
Dutch one's
straight into the
breaking now.
attack.
Van Vleuten again. She was the rider who made the attack
Yesterday
on her
in the
own much
middle,
earlier in the race.
there was a fight
Left them
early
all behind, but couldn't close the
breakaway
gap
group that
to
led.
Kiesenhofer. She's
It
found the strength
was
to
led
go
by
again,
about
but here's
half
Anna
an hour.
Kiesenhofer, gasping for air,
But got caught by
straining every
the end of
cell,
it
getting
because
every ounce of
they
energy
couldn't
out of
hold
her
on to
body
it.
to make sure that she stays in front and claims a wildly unexpected gold medal. This is extraordinary stuff.
Well, Van Vleuten just trying to bluff it out with the attack. She just about bridged the gap on the drag, went straight into the attack, was hoping they'd be turning heads to see who's going to chase, but no, they were straight on it. There's Dijknen looking for the next attack.
Next attack here coming from Anna van der Breggen, I think,
the
the
Dutch one's gone
defending
now.
champion. Yes,
Really
Anna van der
close. I actually don't know
Breggen
who's
making
going
an
to get
attack.
here.
And Mavi Garcia from Spain tries to
I know
counter.
one of them's going to get. I know one of them is definitely going to
There
get
we
it.
go. The two Dutch are going. The two
Look
Dutch
to
are
be
going
getting away.
here.
Van Vleuten is following somehow. And that would be, oh, that's going to be difficult to bring back now.
And here goes Van Vleuten again.
There's
From
no
the
way to
Netherlands.
do it.
Another counter attack. Mavi Garcia doesn't go. She sits on the
early
wheel
on,
of Van der
didn't she? She
Breggen.
was in with Kaiser.
I mean, these are the tactics we expected to see for the win from the Dutch
They're
team.
bullish.
Exactly
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Attack
Very
and
good at
attack,
that. The Dutch
use
are very
that
good
strength in
at
numbers,
breaking away.
but they let the gold medal
I
slip
got a
away.
feeling Van Vleuten's going to be caught again before
Van
we get to
Vleuten
end.
attacks again. She knows it's not going to be in her hands if it comes down to a sprint at the end. Remember, these are the riders at the moment who are competing for the silver and bronze medals, because we're looking at our winner here. She's not quite over the line yet and not quite inside the final kilometre.
Well, she can believe it now. She's got over 2 minutes with just 1.5 minutes to go. She's going to be a kilometre and a half in front of the opposition. She looks back, even now, struggling to believe it. Her day is nearly done. What an incredible ride from start to finish in this race. Kiesenhofer will come round to take the kite, the kilometre to go sign, and Olympic gold less than a minute away.
There are all sorts of counter-attacks behind. This is Van Vleuten. I think Elisa Longo Borghini may be trying to close the gap. It is Longo Borghini trying to close the gap to Van Vleuten. It's the second time we've seen Van Vleuten escape from what we thought were the leading contenders for victory in this race. Will she end up with the silver? Well, she has got Longo Borghini on her tail, but let's concentrate on Anna Kiesenhofer. Part of a breakaway group from the very first moment of the race. Literally, as soon as the flag dropped, she got away with 4 others. They stayed away for most of the day, whittled down to 3, and then she attacked on her own with 40 kilometres to go. That's an awfully long way to go for victory on your own. This is Van Vleuten chasing for the silver medal, with Longo Borghini trying to close the gap at the end of this race.
Gold medal, the last time Austria got a gold medal in cycling at the Olympics was 1896. That's what they've just said.
Potentially for Longo Borghini. Is she going to finish the...
Yeah, in a race that doesn't even exist anymore. A 12-hour race.
Going to become the Olympic champion in a moment. What a moment for her it will be. What a moment for Austria as well. They've only ever had one previous cycling gold medal at the Summer Olympic Games.
There you go. Oh no, that's not the line. That's just the line for the actual race track. That's the line.
They've only ever won 3 cycling medals at the Olympic Games, and they're 300 metres away. From enjoying
that's absolutely amazing to actually break away at the very beginning and with a small group and actually maintain it.
She has ridden in the women's professional peloton in recent years. I'm sure she will do again. She's been at the front all day, and against all the odds, we've got the biggest upset we've ever seen in women's cycling in the Olympic Games in the road race. Anna Kiesenhofer Kiesenhofer from Austria is the Olympic champion. She claims the gold medal, and I bet she can hardly believe it. The cycling world will be stunned.
Well, the day of the underdog.
I mean, I'm not really a cycling fan, but I'm assuming
Oh,
her
God.
victory is some kind of Leicester City
But that's the
She
only one
looks
that
a bit.
she grasped it with both
She looks
hands,
a bit
tactically beautifully
done.
and just looking it behind, going for
Trying to think of an actual
Van
word
Vluten's
for it.
gonna get that.
Van
Van Vluten's gonna get it.
It looks like it's going to be
But
silver.
yeah, the back breakaway
Wow,
was...
what a case of she who dares wins today, and Kiesenhofer, the massive underdog, claims the biggest prize of all. And now here comes Annemiek van Vleuten, who attacked earlier
Italy.
on, countering
Of the
earlier on, I
bronze.
should say, but couldn't close the gap. She
And there's
is going to
the
take the
chaos
silver
on.
medal, and the reality of what she's achieved is just starting to hit Anna Kiesenhofer. What an effort, what an unexpected reward. And Annemiek van Vleuten from the Netherlands, who crashed when she was winning the Olympic road race in Rio, this time will not leave empty-handed, but she will not have the colour of medal she came for, but she does salvage something. She salvages silver, so she will be on the podium. And Elisa Longo Borghini from Italy will take the bronze medal. Here comes Longo Borghini over the line, and she was third in Rio 5 years ago, and for the second Olympics running, Longo Borghini takes the bronze. Lotte Kopecky from Belgium taking fourth place. Here comes the sprint for the minor placings, and Marianne Vos won it with, in that little group, Lizzie Deignan. Ah, the face of victory, Chris. What a story. What a story.
Yeah, the Dutch did well to salvage anything from that, to be honest, get themselves back into contention in the last few kilometres. They seem happy. I don't think anybody's going to begrudge Kiesenhofer.
Well, it was an extraordinary effort from Annemiek van Vleuten. She had the bravery and the fortitude to try to do something and reel that breakaway group in, and psychologically it must have been so difficult for her when that didn't happen. But she regrouped, she got a second wind, and she went again. So in those circumstances did extremely well to get the silver medal.
Yeah,
They certainly did. Just finished in pieces, didn't they? We thought, this course is not as hard as the men as well. They certainly made it hard for the last hour and a half of racing. It was nail-biting stuff. There's a lot of sharp-looking people there.
Well, there's Elisa Longo Borghini, who has another Olympic medal, 2 bronze medals, one from Rio and now one from Tokyo. Demi Follering just crossing the line with Tiffany Cromwell.
Absolutely.
3 hours, 52 minutes,
Obviously, you need that physical strength, especially especially in a race like that. But yeah,
from Austria.
still need to have the belief to actually go and do it.
In Japan. Riders finishing in drips and drabs at the end of a very hot, hilly and humid race. And we've had a most unexpected story with the all-conquering, all-powerful Dutch team outplayed, outfoxed and outridden on the day. No gold medal for Van Vleuten, no retaining of the title for Van der Breggen, but Van Vleuten at least getting the silver, getting some measure of reward for the extreme efforts that she put in preparation for the race, and indeed during the race.
Then Kiesenhofer has confirmed she has taken gold. Van Vleuten got the second, and Longo Borghini, I think out of nowhere really, I think that was a bit kind of wow when she
is your disbelieving Olympic gold medalist.
That breakaway at the end, I wasn't expecting that.
Overwhelmed with joy at her unexpected, but one has to say, thoroughly deserved victory on the day.
I just realise what I'm doing.
Congratulations from Cecilia Ludwig of Denmark.
I'm doing for fan boost.
The riders gathering and taking
for,
on board
hoping,
what has happened, the story of the women's road race at this Olympic Games, one which will not be forgotten in a hurry. An encouragement there going forward for every rider, every unfancied rider who wants to chance their arm, who wants to get in a breakaway, to animate the race, to make the race interesting, just on the off chance.
Dennis and Cassidy.
1,000 to 1 chance that perhaps
I do like
it might
Sam
just
Bird.
come off, and it might just be their day.
But
And not only has that happened
no, I
today,
do.
but it's
Oh.
happened at the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
I like Nick Cassidy.
I do like Sam Bird.
I think he should be. I think eventually he should be in F1. I think he's good. I rate Nick Cassidy. He destroys
The
before.
inquest, I'm sure there will be one for the Dutch. It didn't really work out for them today.
I'm going to go downstairs and
themselves
get
very
some
much on the back
breakfast.
foot.
In the
Lizzie Dykeman
meantime,
did everything she could for Great Britain, staying in the mix into the latter stages of the
We'll
race. But
just
when you only have one teammate,
leave on
then you end up on your own in the latter stages as expected.
Toast,
There's only
I
so
guess.
much you can do, and you are reliant on other
Murray-
people
Murray's
working as well. You
withdraws from
cannot
tennis
chase
singles.
everything. You cannot do everything yourself. It is
Yep.
just not possible.
It's not
On
turning
this
out to be very good
particular
Olympic
occasion,
fit
although
so
she was
far, is
in
it?
with a chance until the closing moments
It's only
of the medal. It
two
didn't
months.
quite work out that way for Lizzie Dykeman.
In London, it took us to Wednesday to get a medal, didn't it? A gold, anyway.
Oh, that
Just
is
over
shooting
6
one out. I
minutes
remember
down.
that.
Riders still crossing the line.
Yeah, Kaisenhofer. I'm assuming it's
Well, there's
kind
the
of
winner.
Leicester City
She'll be heading
upset.
towards the podium in the not too distant future.
Right, I'll be back shortly. So
Here comes the latest little group
Robert will speak.
up towards the
back
finish.
shortly,
Very
guys.
minor placings, but a finish in the
Oh, I
Olympic
don't
Games
know.
nonetheless. Norway with a rider on the front. 2/3 of the Canadian team in this group. One of the
Speaking, I don't know
Australians
about that.
starting at the back. And a rider from the Czech Republic in there as well. That will be Teresa Neumanova. As they sprinted out to finish in the best possible position. So 7 minutes now have elapsed since we saw the upset of the games in a cycling sense, with the victory of Anna Kiesenhofer from Austria, the silver medal going to the Netherlands.
Obviously, they're going to talk quite a lot about
bronze for the second Olympic
that
Games
race
road race
then,
in a
and
row
then
to Italy. In
we'll
the shape of
see what else comes on.
Longo Borghini. The story today.
Oh, absolutely, Simon. You've put in a shift today.
There's other stuff on,
once
so
again, but I tell
use
you
the
what, have you
computer,
ever seen
yeah,
a surprise
and
like that in road racing?
No, you know, I mean, and certainly not in any of the commentary I've ever done. The first breakaway, it's 1,000 to 1 shot that it works, and you go in it because the 1,000 to 1 shot is all that you've got. But 5 riders go almost from kilometre zero, 137 kilometres, whittles down to 3, and it ends up providing the winner. And the Dutch, it was just the opposite of a tactical masterclass, really, and they trapped themselves. They were stuck, and unfortunately, they trapped Lizzie Dykeman as well in the same group, with nobody to work for her. She was just in the lap of the gods, really, when it came back.
Well, we're talking over a century in terms of Austrians getting medals here, but also when you think about it, we don't really know a great deal about her. She's got a maths degree from Cambridge University, doesn't have a contract, and yet she's beaten the might of the Dutch here, who, in a way, Chris, kind of beat themselves.
They did actually. I mean, they're normally fantastic. How they rode on the circuit for the last couple of kilometres is what you see. And they make sure that they're never pressed to be the team that has to work by always being up the road and forces everybody else to have to do the chasing. But in this situation, they let the early breakaway go, which is normal, but it got such a lead, such an enormous lead, that suddenly it became a genuine threat. And who's going to chase it? Everybody's looking at the Dutch, and they found themselves on the back foot. And they didn't use it. They didn't use their might. They sent Van Vleuten up the road on the final climb. But with that 5 minutes to close with one
it's
individual,
Brazil
40 k's to go,
versus the
it's just not going to happen.
Cote d'Ivoire, which is the Ivory Coast.
It was just really poor tactics. They did
The
very well
men's
to salvage
football.
podium place.
What was fascinating for me,
At
Chris,
least
was
for
the
now,
fact that
anyway.
You've got 4 potential champions in there, in that Dutch team. And I did wonder, how are they
which
going
hasn't
to
actually
work
kicked off yet.
for one another? Who's going to
Should be an
sacrifice
interesting
themselves
one.
for the other?
Brazil,
Was
usually
there a
the
doubt in your
favourites of
mind
the
whether that would
men's
happen, or is it much
football
more
when it
a
comes
shared
to
operation?
They're
the
normally very good. They're
Olympics.
quite cohesive, and at the very least, they don't work against each
A
other.
lot in
So
fairness
rather than
to
attack, the
that,
style lends itself
they
to
lost in the final last
competitiveness.
time
If somebody goes, I'm not going
at
to
the Home
chase it,
Olympics. So.
but you don't necessarily, help. So in that sense, they were good. Voss, super champion in her own right. She was working for the team from the word go. So there was a hierarchy. But when it actually came down to it, they needed to use their strength in depth. They didn't. And that was the one scenario they hadn't foreseen, and they didn't change tactics. They stuck with the same playbook, and they just weren't close enough to the front.
It's been a fascinating morning, I must say. Lizzie Diagnan has finished 11th, and I understand that she's now speaking to Jill Douglas.
What an extraordinary race, Lizzie. Frustrating, I could see when you crossed the line. I mean, it was just the most bizarre day, wasn't it?
It was a weird old day, yeah, and unfortunately I was kind of between a rock and a hard place, really. Anna did a great job while she could. I mean, she really did. Yeah, she should be really proud of her effort. But you know, from midway through, I was on my own, and unfortunately on my own, but also marked. I didn't kind of have that freedom to ride as a solo rider, so. Tactically, I think I did the right thing. Just didn't go my way.
As you say, there was very little else you could do. You couldn't go yourself. You were so heavily marked, and there were still 3 Dutch riders in that group. We could see you trying to animate them and try and get them to start chasing the break. It just didn't seem to happen.
No, I mean, it's a weird race. I mean, everyone, although, you know, there's small teams, there's weird agendas within teams. And I mean, it's also because the race was so hot and so humid, all of the moves were a bit blunted. There wasn't kind of that same spark. Everyone knew that if they went into the red themselves, you never come back from it in this kind of weather. So it was a defensive race, but still really hard. Weird.
Were you getting time checks? Obviously you haven't got radios. It was difficult to tell if you actually knew, if the peloton knew what the distances were.
No, I mean, it was incredibly frustrating to be in my position, and every time somebody made a move off their front, they were literally motor pacing away from me. Like, the motorbikes there was too many of them. There was way too many motorbikes, and yeah, it is what it is.
11th place though, you rode well today, you were in with all the elite riders there at the end. We look back at your Olympic experiences, how would you reflect on it?
You know, I'm old enough to know that that's the way sport goes sometimes. I'm obviously really disappointed, but I have the perspective that I've put myself in the position to be here. I've had a great team behind me, and we've had a pandemic and we've still had an Olympics, and there's so much to be thankful for to even race here, and honestly the best person won the bike race. Like, Annemiek was clearly the strongest, so you know, chapeau to her.
Thanks, Lucy.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, what a career she's had. Obviously that's silver, kicking things off for Great Britain in 2012 in a 5th place, and obviously an 11th here. Is that the last we're going to see of Lizzie at the Olympics, would you say, Chris?
Well, she's taken it year by year, so we hear, in terms of am I going to retire, when am I going to retire, because she has had a long and illustrious career. I watched her win the World Championships in America. That was an amazing sprint finish. That was brilliant to see. So it's up to her, really. But 4 years between games, big chunks of time, I think that might be it.
Yeah, well, she's got a little girl now, Orla, that clearly takes up a lot of time. But she seems in a good place at the moment, very happy in her life, and still racing professionally, a world champion too. Still got a lot to give, you would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's whether she's enjoying it or not more than anything else. I'm not really a big fan of physical age making the determination. It's whether you still actually want to do it. As you say, other things going on in your life, and they start to take precedent. You realise what you have to give up to be an athlete. But I think she's been amazing. Watching that interview, clearly she's nicely balanced. She did everything she could today, what was out of her hands, really, and she salvaged from it the best that she could.
Can I just talk about Van Vleuten, because she is extraordinary.
Well,
obviously Lizzie thought she didn't realise. But look at this. This is Van Vleuten crossing the line.
Obviously, because BBC wanted a little bit of a analysis almost of the road race. There's not too much to talk about. The match in the foot was not quite over. Sorry for the bit of silence which it just had.
6 kilometres from the finish in Rio, really bad crash and didn't get up. So just to see her coming back and competing on the podium was
also
great. Relieved they got something out of this.
Been watching about a bit of the Formula E qualifying as well, and
with the time trials and your expectations in the middle of the week for that, would you say from a British perspective would be what, Chris?
I think just a solid performance in that one. I think we're looking again to Chloe Dygart. She was out of the, or she crashed out of the time trial last year. She was leading it.
Hopefully,
Hasn't ridden
if
the road
Brandon
since
does
the
get
national champs. She's really favoured for it. So we'll have to wait
project
and see.
cards
But it's
to
another hilly
download
course.
and
Okay, looking forward to it.
working.
Well played, thank you very much. All right.
Then we
We've got a
will
lot to get through over the next few
get.
hours, and I hope you're going to stay
Well,
with us
good
until
news,
we
Robert.
come off the air at 3 o'clock. That's
Nope.
the end of our Tokyo day.
I'm back and meet him. Well,
Shortly we're going to see the
Project
headhunter
Cars
in
has only
action
got
as Jay
55
Jones
minutes
attempts to
left.
win a third Olympic Taekwondo.
There you go. That's what I was just saying. Hopefully, that you get that
Teammate Bradley
sorted,
Sinden
that all
is the
works
first man
out,
to win a
and it
world
looks like it
championship
will.
gold. Could he claim an Olympic title too? No British boy's done that. Simone Biles has 4 Olympic titles and counting, and we're going to see the US gymnastics legend in qualifying action alongside the British women in their rotation.
So that means we should be ready for that race.
Reigning champion Adam Peaty got on in the 100 meters
11 o'clock,
semi-finals
definitely
in
later
Bristol,
than expected,
and
but
the
at
rest of
least
the
we get it
overnight
done.
Swimming finals.
I do apologise for you.
So a lot to get through on this Sunday morning. Until your Sunday afternoon, we've got the gymnastics. Just before that, we've got the taekwondo, and there's a lot to talk about there. At gymnastics, Great Britain's men have already got through to the team final, into 5 finals in total. Great Britain's women are trying to secure some places in their finals too, and of course we're looking forward to seeing the appearance of the greatest Simone Biles for the USA. Swimming, we've got the overnight medals and the live heats coming your way about 10:45, and we're going to be ducking and diving around all the other sports as well. There's so much happening on this second day as it unfolds, and here are some of the key headline makers already from this day 2. Adam Peaty looking to make history by becoming the first British champion to
I know you were watching the skateboarding last night. What did you think about that?
Cruised through today's 100 metres breaststroke semi-finals, qualifying fastest as ever. And talking of history makers in the pool,
Oh, it definitely is now.
put his name into Tunisian folklore this morning by claiming a surprise victory in the 400 metres freestyle. Only a 3rd swimming gold ever for the North African nation.
Sorry, I missed that one.
And there was a big shock as skateboarding made its games bow. US favourite Nigel Houston didn't make the medals though, as home hero
disagree
Yuta
necessarily.
gold for Japan.
Although it'll be interesting when they start doing the sport climbing.
2-time defending champion Andy Murray's had a bit of a tough day. He's withdrawn from the men's singles before his first match due to a minor thigh strain to concentrate on the men's doubles competition. And world number 1 Ash Barty also will not be winning Tokyo gold for Australia. She was stunned by Sarah Sorbiez Tormo of Spain in the first round of the women's Olympic singles. Now that is a surprise. Britain's women are the reigning Rio Olympic hockey champions, as you'll know, but their bid to defend that crown got off to a stuttering start today. They lost their opening match to Germany 2-1. And don't forget that we've got coverage on the Red Button and BBC iPlayer throughout the day, and at the moment I believe there's coverage of the boxing.
Hold on, no ruining it.
Of the Tokyo evening. Now, easy like Sunday morning. This
I imagine
we've been watching them kick and punch.
It might actually just be about going belly by any chance.
4 a.m. in the Taekwondo. And a particularly combative mood has been Doncaster's Bradley Sinden. He's the first British man ever to have won a world title in Taekwondo, and now in his very
But I think I know what it probably is. It's probably a bronze, and I think it's in judo.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it might be. I know it's definitely.
You know it's a bronze. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I seen one of our
on the back of only
having
a few weeks training,
judoku, I think they call them, got through the round to get them into the bronze medal match. So it wouldn't surprise me if she then went and won the bronze medal.
Then when the fight happened, it goes into tunnel vision. I can't hear any of that. It's one-on-one with the coach. Scoring that body shot in the last second in the semi-final, it was just like a rush of adrenaline. He's entered a World Championship final. Can you believe it?
That end, I'm going to change what I'm watching on the computer to the.
I'm trying to work out why
came through, and it was one of my 2 dreams to happen.
Russian Olympic Committee.
That's my aim.
There is
and
no
being this
Russian
close to it,
Olympics.
it's just the excitement's building up as a team.
Team,
to ready,
yeah.
pushing ourselves in training so we can all hopefully be Olympic champions. I always tell myself every time I fight.
They do exist. They are fighting. They ain't banned. What's banned is the flag, the national anthem, and being able to compete under them. So they actually go under ROC, which is Russian Olympic Committee.
I know I'm focusing on the line. The aim is to not have to come out with regrets.
Yes. And they won't play the Russian national anthem either if they win the gold medal. It'll be something else. I can't remember what it was.
45 points and 20 points advantage. Absolutely astonishing stuff to get into.
I guess it's good that they're allowed to compete. But I guess it's a bit of a shame for the whole doping thing, but kind of, I guess, had to happen.
Moved up 10 kilograms to get into this weight. So semi-final time, if he wins, Sinden is guaranteed a medal, and commentary comes from John Cullen.
Oh, that's why they're doing it. No, I get why. I actually agree with it. It's just, I'm just thinking of how would it be as an athlete to win a gold medal and then listen to not even be able to hear your national anthem getting played, you know?
Chiba to be correct.
Russian Automobile
And from Doncaster to Chiba, it's this man here.
Yeah.
A shake of the head. Can he make one more bit of headway into
that right? According to almost everyone, he's got a Russian flag on his car anyway. So.
The Doncaster native began his taekwondo at King's Taekwondo via Ultimate. Could it be the ultimate achievement?
I just find that ironic that, like you say, Mazep and whatever can't compete under the Russian flag or the Russian anthem if they actually won a race somehow. And a Haas, which would be interesting if he won a race in a Haas, you'd hear the Russian national anthem followed by the American national anthem. But anyway,
semi-final opportunity.
I get political, but you know, it's nice to see.
Xiao likewise, a couple of big wins, most recently against Bernardo Piet.
It's true though, isn't it?
The Olympic champion in the
That's true.
division.
Doesn't mean it would be interesting.
Times before. Zhao Shui of China has
to hear those national anthems back to back.
This man here.
But yeah, then
that win at the Moscow Grand Prix final in 2019. Well, I think we all know.
But my point there was that he's not allowed to compete under the flag. He's not allowed to hear his national anthem if he won. Yet there's a Russian Grand Prix, which is going to have the flag and be called Russian and have the national anthem. I assume, anyway.
It's all kicking off here in the semi-final. The under-68, Sinden coming forward, back leg turning kick scores. A super start for Sinden. Zhao Shui, can he find a way? Does well to avoid the headshot of the man in blue. Conrad Jenkins from Jamaica.
Yeah, I just wonder if there's going to be a workaround or something, because I don't know if
at a frenetic pace. Zhao Shui trying to slow things down.
Not that I really care. I don't.
Well, when Bradley took his first World Championship,
I genuinely don't actually care. It just gives me something to talk about.
Or indeed the Grand Slam in Wuxi, China.
Whilst I put on the boxing on my laptop, the amateur boxing that they have at the Olympics. I say amateurs.
But it rules the roost so far. Finds the shot
I guess it is amateur. I don't know how to do. And
it's an open stance, an open scoring for both men.
Man from Great Britain looking to get to the semi-final of the gold medal final and the taekwondo as well. That's on BBC.
That doubles up to 4. A head kick will give you 3. A spinning.
How quickly they move on from big road race to people trying to kick their heads off each other, you know.
With the marginal lead. The swing and a miss from Zhao Shui. Not too much power on that punch. Footwork first from the young Brit, just trying to shuffle away there. Zhao Shui coming forward as the clock ticks down. 3 2-minute rounds, of course, in Taekwondo, and a welcomed 1-minute rest in between. Nice push kick to the body from Sinden, follows in with the punch. It is a nice little shot in the inside there, picks it off. Sinden, 4 points to the good, tries a little step-up double of his own. Anything you can do, but at the moment it was Zhao Shui that did it better. 4 up. Lauren Williams there in the forefront of your screen, alongside the rest of Team GB. She fights tomorrow. But it's all about today. It's all about the game plan that Stamper and Sinden. Sounds like a law firm. But finding the answer there, Zhao Shui finding the double and creating the gam jump. That's a little penalty point. And at the end of an engrossing first round, hard to separate them. Zheng Shuyin on the right hand of the screen there. She will go against Great Britain's Bianca Walton in the heavyweight division. Let's have a listen. Well, for Zhao Shui and Guan Jiangmin, Chinese national team coach, they know Bradley Sinden all too well. It was the jumping back kicks and double kicks that gave him the win on the last 2 occasions. There's the jumping double kick I was talking about. So he's got that tactic, these little shots in the inside, the strategy of Sinden. Very smart fighter. Well, he's travelled up and down the country with sister Jodie, who's a top-class referee. Almost made it to the Tokyo Games as one of the A-list refs. I'm sure Mum Cheryl will be delighted that her son is well in this one.
I do apologise.
Zhao Shui, of course, the Guangzhou
Well, muted again.
yet more Olympic success back to China.
Alright, I didn't even hear it, so.
We get to find out. Push kick from Sinden, showing his strength in the insides. It is Zhao Shui doing well just to grab on there. In Taekwondo, you either want to be too far or too close if you're trying to avoid being hit. And Zhao Shui is doing that pretty well so far. The merest of margins, 1 point gap. The legs locked on the inside. Sinden trying to go for the headshot round the back. Little punch in the inside, no power.
Certainly a
Final stalemate.
close fight.
As they retreat to the clinch again. A grimace from Sinden. Tough times. Well, they've waited 5 years for this opportunity to go for the final. And this one beginning to bubble under, just beginning to heat up. Not wanting to overcommit. You can see the tension in the face of Guan Jiangmin, the Chinese national team coach. Sinden looking a bit more loose now, up on his toes. Trying to elicit a response.
50 seconds and some change here in the second round.
Halfway through this second round, neither fighter overcommitting at this stage. Back leg turning kick goes right around. Wonderful spinning technique. He'll take the gamjong for falling. Changed a back kick into reverse at the last second. A nod there from Sinden as if to say, okay, here we go. That was an excellent shot from Zhao Shui. 5 points in 1 reverse turning kick. Reversing the fortunes for Team China. 3 points of a difference.
Formula E starts at 10
Clock
o'clock,
ticking.
so we'll
Just
do
30 seconds and some change here in the second
I
round.
think we'll project cards will about another 45 minutes or 40 minutes or so.
Zhao Shui with that perfect timing. Sinden tries a head shot of his own. Conrad Jenkins does well to step out. And I think we're going to see a video replay card from Martin Stamper. Let's have a listen. Well, I think you could hear that for yourself. Did Zhao Shui step out of the ring? I know that Conrad Jenkins, our centre referee from Jamaica, stepped out as well. Let's have a look. Throws the kick. Well, that was the successful reverse turning kick. This is the point of contention here. Watch the feet. Do both feet, yep, stepping out into the red zone. Well, I'm sure Conrad Jenkins will be asking, what do you make of that? Sindon will be hoping it's a gamjol, as I mentioned. That's the little point addition to your opponent for a mistake. So, look pretty clear from this picture. Well, he had an excellent use of the video replay card so far, Martin Stamper. Bradley Sindon, though, the database is running. Zhao Shui over his shoulder, both men. High drama. It's in the hands of the judge at the bottom. It'll either be an X signal or a thumbs up. Thumbs up means that it was successful, the card goes back, and the point will be added to Sindon. Indeed, it is thumbs up all round Martin Stamper. I think you've earned yourself a little bonus there. I hope Gary Hall is listening. But who can find the bonus by getting into the Olympic final? Cuts it to a 2-point deficit, 22 in the second. Zhao Shui, concentration. Both men hustling and bustling forward. There's no love lost there. You can see the face of Zhao Shui. A fight is in the offing here. Maybe not in this second round, but the third round beckons. Good blocking from Shui on the blind side of the ref there, jumping up, covering. Good shot on the inside from Shui, brings it back to a 4-point lead with 4 seconds to go in the second. Sindon tries with a kick through, it's a step on the leg there. A gamjol will be given for falling over. Martin Stamper will play the video replay card. And there was a kick to the leg and then to the protector as he fell. Was he on the ground? Okay, you heard it yourself. So Martin Stamper saying it was the first push kick that scored the 2, and there shouldn't then be double points for a spinning technique. As you know, kick to the body is worth 2. If you spin, it's worth 4. Okay, so it was this kick here that scored, not the spinning technique, because that kicked the leg of Sindon. And if you're following that, there are prizes available. I'm sure British Taekwondo on National Taekwondo Day will be writing to you with a bonus point. But will it be bonus points here? So it was the first kick that scored, not the second. That's the contention of the British coach. The second bit hit the leg rather than the protector. Oh, you have to get up early and learn the rules in Taekwondo, no question. But who's going to rule the roost in this one? A spot in the Olympic final at stake. Still plenty more Taekwondo to come, of course, but this one will complete this session. Tense times. Martin Stamper's played his cards right at every point so far. Well, the men behind the mask hold the fate of both fighters in their hands at the moment, but they'll be taking it back into their own hands and feet for the remaining third round. If you've just joined us, have a look at this. A kick there that scored first, and then that one kicked to the leg. That's the contention of the British team coach. Bianca Walton on the right, Lauren Williams on the left, Sindon and Shui in the middle. This one in the balance. Unsuccessful. Card is pocketed. The points stand. 16-9. Quite a differential. There won't be much time left for anything in this second round. Sindon comes forward anyway. Shui goes back to his corner. Well, who's going to find a way into this Olympic final? The men's under 68s. Let's have a listen.
Stop and stop and stop. You need to give yourself a little bit of distance to manipulate first, yeah? Manipulate, and then you can go, and then he's going to make a decision. He's going to, at the minute.
Well, looking for Bradley Sindon to take away the slow pace from Shui, to try and get him to elicit a response, to change the distance, change the momentum, and ultimately change the destination of the final. At the moment, it's Beijing. But will the fighter from Doncaster make it through? Of course, Doncaster, a rich stable of top-class fighters. Sarah Stevenson, the first ever British medalist. And of course, Caroline Fisher, always in our thoughts. But Bradley Sindon will be trying to emulate the quality of Lutelo Mohamed's run to the final 5 years ago now. Can he do it? Well, will Zhao Shui, the Olympic champion in the lower division, show his quality and make it through? 2 minutes will decide it. Sinden pushing forward, Shui on the back foot. This one will be a war of stamina now. Gamjoms could prove pivotal, and there's one given. The card is gone. Conrad Jenkins giving the point against Sinden. So if you hold, if you run away, if you step out into the red zone, if you wrestle too much, your opponent gets a point. Sinden trying. Good work from Shui. A little bit of an acrobatic dive there from Sinden. The Gamjong will be given though, and the Oscar goes too. But Sinden still very much in this picture. 7 points of a gap. Nice little kick on the inside from Sinden, trying to go for the head. But still well ahead, Zhao Shui. And he's got that excellent back kick. Sinden tries one of his own though. Finds a little trunk kick on the inside. A little two-pointer hiding in the trunk, picks it out. Steve Jennings in the centre. Martin Stamper, his former student. But studious stuff from Sinden, who travels up and down the country, helping out as he helps himself to a punch on the inside there. Cuts it to 4 on the board. And makes another shot there. Zhao Shui, headshot was after Kallio. Will it be invalidated? So Kallio, if you're new, just means stop. So from my reckoning, let's have a listen though. Kick after Kallio, yep, just as we thought. So Conrad Jenkins will have that conversation. So if the referee says stop, you're not allowed to kick. So the stop signal is for your hand to come down. This is the previous one. Forget all about it on the score, on your screen there. The next one, watch the referee's hand. Stop. Now, did he manage to get his hand in before Sinden hit the back of the head? Let's have a look. Hits the head. Well, it looked to be exactly at the same time. Now, will the referee union go against each other? It's a rare sight if they do.